Okay, so I'm gonna try and do some modifications to the carburetor on the ET8. We have all our parts here laid out. I took it apart already. As you can see, the other video showed that. Pop the clip off, take this set screw out, and then the body pulls out the side. The high-speed mix comes off. This acorn nut is 7mm to get the control arm off, or the throttle body control arm off, and the needle there, and the C-clip, which I already said. So two big things that I did here. First, I noticed that the slit in the high-speed needle there was partially blocked off by this opening. This opening wasn't wide enough to let that slit and hole on the high-speed needle uncover it properly. So I just took my Dremel tool and filed that open a bit so that that is going to be fully across there. That way when you rotate the dial down, it actually covers up part of the slit instead of most of the slit being covered and it trying to suck fuel only through the hole in the middle here, because it's got that slit with a hole drilled in it. The other thing is that Ron Walters and a lot of people, there's a big air suction problem around this side of the throttle, where the throttle arm is, and that's because this whole thing is not machined to very high tolerances, and of course that air infiltration here makes the mixture really hard to control, because you want all your air going through the main body of the carburetor past the needle. So I am going to fix that by making a giant washer and putting some fiber behind it that hopefully with a dab of oil will cause it to turn into a little bit of a gasket that will just, as the air gets pulled in, that gasket will get pulled against here and plug that up. This washer is off the bottom of a pill bottle. I used my Dremel to make this middle section here, this hole just the right size to fit over that shaft, and I picked the pill bottle because it's got the two different indents, so it's a bit like a dished washer, and that means it will hold. It's also kind of big, but it's going to hold everything. It's going to help hold that pad of makeshift felt over the area where the air leaks, so it'll be more likely to get pulled against the infiltration zone. So I think we will get this put back together here and see about cutting that felt washer up and putting it in. So I'm going to put the high speed adjustment. The slit is opposite this notch, so the notch is here and that slit is going to be on the back side there, and that lines up with the barrel here. This is the way the barrel goes in, and the inlet is here, so when you turn the barrel to open the throttle up, it will open more over the high-speed adjustment. So put that in and put this retainer in. put the C clip or E clip or retainer clip or whatever you want to call it on there. And yeah, other videos I've seen about this, reminder, this clip is only barely holding onto the brass and it's drilled and threaded through there, so you can't put a lot of pressure on this clip because it's not holding on to much as a retainer. The same clip on the steel valves is pretty suitable there, but that's because those valves have full steel action. See, I see a little bit of a mold line on the barrel here. Just knock that down a little bit. It's not knocking down much, but there. Try not to touch the threads when I'm doing that, but knock that down a little bit. That'll help with our seal around here. And then I am going to push that to make a little mark. I have the spiral Dremel bit out from when I drilled the other hole, and I'm just going to use that to poke through. This material is a stabilizer for machine embroidery, and I used some gasoline to test it, make sure it was not going to disintegrate or melt, and it seems to be doing okay. So I think that by having it just on the outside of the carb with a little bit of I think that hole might be big enough to get those to work on. Now, use that Dremel bit to hold everything together, and I am cutting this using my good scissors for fabric. And I'm sure anybody else who sews or knows anybody who sews is currently cringing because the fastest way to get a real good or get in trouble is to steal somebody's fabric scissors for not fabric, but these are my fabric scissors, so the only person I can be mad at is me. And let's see, there's a whole bunch of these fibers. I'm just going to grab 3 of them, 3 that actually ended up cut the full size, and just push and thread those on. There we go. Put our big holding washer on there. Alright, think that might actually do the trick. We will try it out this weekend, but for now, I'm going to pop that arm on there and put our acorn nut in place. Just give it a little snug there. Make sure we can still turn it. Perfect. There. All these fine threads, instead of screwing them straight in, back them out until you hear the click, and then you know that you're in the first thread and you won't force and cross thread them. So we will try this over the weekend. I think by putting a dab of oil on that, it's going to puff these bits of fiber up, and then it should settle in and seal up that air infiltration. So we'll see. And if that's not enough, maybe I'll add a couple more layers in there. But hopefully that fixes things.